What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Platinum. In the last episode, we made it to Jubilife City. Had a little bit of a talk with Lucas and this weird guy named Looker once we got here. We also grabbed some items and stuff, but we're supposed to meet Barry here inside the trainer school. Now, if you go past this point, you're actually going to get stopped by this person here. Past here is the global terminal, your gateway to the world, but I'm sorry you don't have any gym badges. Global terminal is off limits. If you don't have a gym badge, sorry. Now, unfortunately, I want to talk about this really quickly. So this is the precursor to what was later known as the GTS system, which is part of the whole Nintendo Wi-Fi thing, was allow you to actually connect with other players. This was really the first instance of it in any Pokemon game was Gen 4. Now, of course, we all know that the Nintendo Wii and DS Wi-Fi services have been taken completely offline, so we can't even use those anymore if we wanted to. I want to say there are like private servers and things like that that you can access through modding and whatnot, but we're not going to get into any of that today. For now, that is just worth mentioning that if you wanted to access the GTS functionality, this was where you would do it, but we will not be doing that in this Let's Play because it doesn't pertain to us anymore. So let's head on into the school. Now, there's one item over here we can grab, and I'll talk to... No, I didn't mean to do that. I want to talk to Barry first, but there is actually one other thing we're going to be doing in here. So let's do that. Hey, Don, did you come to study too? Went ahead and memorized everything that was up on the blackboard. After all, it's the trainer's job to avoid having their precious Pokemon hurt in battle, right? So, Don, what brings you, huh? You got something for me? And we have delivered the parcel. What is this? Score, it's a town map, but why are there two in here? I like it a lot, but I don't need two. Here, Don, you take one. And that is how we get ourselves our free obligatory town map. Well, according to the town map, I guess Royal City is where... I say obligatory, but in Gen 1, you could literally miss it, which was the stupidest design ever, just because it was like you'd have to go talk to a character you didn't know you needed to talk to. You can go through the whole game without it. It was ridiculous. All right, so there's two trainers in here we can actually battle, and I'm actually going to battle the one on the right first, because if we battle the one on the left second, well, it doesn't matter what you do, but the one on the left gives us the item for battling both of them, and, I mean, you kill two birds with one stone because they just give it to you straight away if you battle them second. But let's do this thing. Now, as far as, and you're probably going, wait a second, I thought you didn't know anything about this game. How are you aware of all these little quirks? Spoiler alert, but I've actually tried to record maybe the first like 3 hours of this Let's Play, probably about 6 or 7 times now, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the final take. This happens a lot when I do Let's Plays, especially of games that I am less familiar with, because I have to just keep giving it, like maybe something just isn't vibing correctly, or I'm not giving my best when it comes to commentary, or even half my best, and I'm just not feeling all that confident with how all the videos are turning out, so sometimes I'll just do a full reset, and this one has been a victim of that a lot, but I think things are going pretty good this time, so we'll see how that turns out. Now, the point of these battles, and the point of that first trainer especially, is if you got her Bidoof down to red health, she was going to use a potion, but because we overrode that, it never really happened. Now, this kid right here is going to be using an X attack on his Starly, just to kind of show how they use. Now, an X attack raises, I want to say it raises the stat by 1 stage, not 2. I think that came in later generations, but I could be wrong about that. Now, this is... I mean, I guess I could have used like something to kind of offset that, but it's still not doing a ton of damage, so I'm not too concerned about that. We can still easily beat this Starly. But there we go. And after you've beaten both of them, you're going to get a free item for doing so from this kid, which I want to say is just a potion, but yeah, whatever. Free item's a free item. Well, you've beaten Harrison. I didn't use items effectively. I mean, you used it as effectively as you could, kid. Whoa, you're really good. We've been studying every day, but we were no match for you at all. You'd be able to use this potion properly. Here you go. Well, thank you. All right, and now that we have done everything here in the trainer's school, we are going to head on out after that little tutorial on held items. And once we head up here, this guy is going to put a stop to us with the weird hair. Oh, you call yourself a Pokemon trainer, and yet you have no Poketch. That is Pokemon Watch, or Poketch for short. I don't know how else people pronounce it. Poketch, I don't know, but I'm going to say Poketch. Oh my, you're a rare case indeed. You see, I invented and now manufacture Poketches. Not only that, I'm now conducting the Poketch promotional campaign. All you have to do is find 3 clowns in Jubilife City. If you can find them, I will gift you with a Poketch. Okay, well, right off the bat, the first clown is right here. Hi, I'm a Poketch campaign clown. Let's roll out my question. Does a Pokemon grow by defeating others and gaining experience points? Okay, spoiler alert, all 3 of the questions that these clowns are asking you, it's yes. All 3 of them are yes. So we're just going to grab each of the coupons that we're going to get off of them. You can just spam A through the conversations until, boom, you are done. Now, the next one is up here blocking the entrance to Jubilife TV. which we will not be able to go into until we come back to Jubilife City after getting our first badge. So it's something to keep in mind. That was technically the third one. I think the second one is way over here. Yeah. And this is actually the Poketch building itself, if I'm not mistaken. That this one is standing outside, but it is not blocking your way from going inside, which is good. Let me just see 100%. Let's see. Poketch Company. Yep. All right. So now that we have all 3 coupons, let's go back and get this thing. And I actually really like this device. I've always thought it was very quaint and cute. Let me count your coupons. Use the Poketch here. 1, 2, 3. Bravo. I say bravo. In return for these coupons, I present you with this Pokemon Watch, or Poketch for short. And there we go. And now you can see what time I'm recording all of this at. Touch the Poketch screen and find the apps that are right for you. Well, thank you. All right, let's go through these apps one by one really quickly as I make the bottom screen the top screen for the first and probably only time in this entire Let's Play. So we have first up a clock, which you can see is kind of set to 24-hour time instead of 12 time, so it's 1:48 at the time that I'm recording this. You can then switch it over to a calculator, which actually does come in handy for certain things, although I find that this would be a lot more useful in battle as opposed to outside of battle, but it can still have its uses, which is kind of nice. Then we have the step counter, which I actually think is the most useful out of all the apps in the entire game, because this is how you're going to be tracking your step counts for things like hatching eggs and whatnot. If you ever need to reset it back to 0, just hit the C and boom, there you go. This will always count up until, well, you reset it. And now that I've clicked the wrong way, the last one is to see our team health status. So you can take a look at that. It'll also show like poison, freeze, sleep, all that sort of thing, all those sorts of things too. It's just another way to kind of have your team status up at all times. I am probably going to keep that specific app up the longest just because it's the least intrusive, and it also kind of does my job for me a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you can tell based on the little bios that I've made here for this particular playthrough, but I'm going very minimalist this time because I want to show a lot more of the screen than is possible. And again, we're not going crazy with the graphics this time around. It's going to mostly just be very standard fare. And yeah, as the bare minimum that I can possibly show. So, all right, let's, I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to cover here for now. So let's go this direction. Now, this is going to take us to a route that we can't actually proceed past, but we're still going to go this way anyway because there's a couple things we can do. First things first, we can talk to this guy. Yes, sir, an old rod is a good thing. You think so too, am I right? Sure, it depends on the context of old rod, but whatever. Good answer, we can be friends. Here you go. That's my old rod. Sir, I don't want to grab your old rod, but thank you anyway. Now we can catch Magikarp and pretty much nothing else, and I did not mean to say... yes, well, I don't know, whatever. He was quick about it. So we got an old rod. If we wanted to go catch a Magikarp right now, we could. I do not. I am not going to be using a Gyarados in this playthrough, but I am over here because there's one item you can grab. You can get yourselves an X accuracy, which is pretty cool. So let's just grab that really quickly and then head back. This route's going to come in handy much later on in the game. Right now, we are not going to even bother ourselves with it because you're going to need to have Surf if you want to explore most of that route, which you won't get for several gym badges later. All right, now we can head out this direction past Looker, or where Looker was standing, to go to Route 203, but I'm actually going to do something a little bit different this time and head to Route 204 first. Now, Route 204 is the direction that you're going to take after we've beaten the first gym to continue on, but the thing is that there's trainers right here to battle, so let's get the experience while we have access to it. We're only going to be battling 3 on this route in particular. But the main reason I am here is actually because of 2 Pokemon that can be caught on this route. The first of those is Badoo, and Badoo was a brand new Pokemon in Gen 4 that was added to the Roselia line. Back in Gen 3, Roselia was a standalone Pokemon, but in Gen 4, it got both a Prevolution and an Evolution. Badoo itself is not a super strong Pokemon, but it eventually evolves with Happiness, and its Happiness stat doesn't need to be that crazy high, it just needs to be decent before it becomes Roselia. Roselia then evolves into its final evolved form, Roserade, which is an extremely powerful grass and poison type Pokemon with insane special attack and actually pretty darn decent speed. This is a Pokemon that I would highly recommend picking up whenever you have an opportunity, and is certainly better than the other new Pokemon in this route, which is Wurmple. Now, Wurmple has a random but not random chance of evolving either into Cascoon or Silcoon. There are ways to determine, but it has a lot to do with like hidden values and whatnot. But either way, if it ends up evolving into Silcoon, then that means you will be getting a Beautifly, which is a bug and flying type. If it evolves into a Cascoon, then you're going to be getting yourself a Dustox, which is a poison and bug type. Of the two, I think Beautifly is slightly better. It's in a lot of ways you can kind of compare them to Butterfree and Beedrill. Although I would also go on record and say that both of those Pokemon are better than Beautifly and Dustox. Beautifly's got some nice utility stuff, but it isn't necessarily like a strong Pokemon or a good sweep or anything. Dustox, it just does things that almost every other poison type in the game can do better, so it's not really all that much worth going after. It's just sort of there. Now, I'm going to battle this girl really quickly before I then stop everything to go and try and track down this one Pokemon that I want, because, spoiler alert, one of the two Pokemon we just talked about, I'm going to be adding to my team, and I got to actually see if I can find her. So let's use an Ember really quickly. I bet you can't guess which one, right? It's going to be pretty obvious. Now, there is a little bit of a trick to this, though, when I actually go about doing it, so I'm going to have to go over that really quickly. Well, I'll do it when I actually find the one that I want, but there we go. Knocked it out. Beautiful. All right, and that was a very simple fight. Badoo is technically what you'd call a baby Pokemon, so it's not really all that strong. It's just going to kind of... It's just kind of there. It really starts to come into its own once it evolves into Roselia, but Roserade is the one that is significantly better and what you're going to want to be chasing. And yeah, there's my spoiler right there. I'm going to be adding a Badoo to my team, but I actually need to find this thing, and I'm not going to make you guys sit there and watch me do a ton of random encounters until it shows up. So I will cut back when I have found the Badoo that I want. Okay, I've got my fingers crossed, but I'm hoping that this has the ability that I want. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be super upset about it, but there is one ability I definitely prefer over the other. Come on, get in there. Oh, really? I couldn't use another scratch on the thing, otherwise it was going to definitely knock it out, so I wanted to see if I could catch it right then and there. That didn't quite work out, because I can't use Ember on this thing, otherwise it's just going to instantly knock it out. If it uses Absorb one more time, then maybe I'll chance a scratch, but I'm going to see if I can catch this on one more go. I know its health is not low enough, but this is really the only shot I've got of actually getting it. There we go. Okay, cool. We'll take that. Beautiful. All right, so I got an interesting idea when it comes to the name for this one, but we'll just take that. There we go. And let's take a look. So grass and poison type, it's a little tiny baby, and I love it. So cute. All right, so I am going to be naming this Badoo, and where's my name? There it is. I'm going to be naming this thing Helena, and I'm going to be doing that with 2 L's. Now, you're probably wondering why that is. Seems very obvious, like oddly specific. Well, that's because there is a theory that Roselia itself is not actually a rose, but it is actually instead based off of a flower type that are called hellebores. Now, hellebores are meant to look like roses, but they are not roses, and then there is some differences for sure. But they're meant to look like roses, and they're actually poisonous, which I think fits into the scheme of a poison type like Roselia so much more. So I like that name. We're going to go with Helena. And immediately, as soon as we get here over to Route 203, we're going to be doing battle against Barry. So let's do that really quickly. This is how I'm going to be ending the episode. So we'll just take out this Starly really quickly. And then, of course, the Piplup after the fact, which I'm actually going to let Helena do most of the damage on. Well, at least I'll try to. All it has is Absorb, unfortunately, which is not a super strong move, but whatever. In fact, I'm going to use a potion on Helena really quickly. Then I got to check her stats, because we're going to be stuck with a little Badoo for a little while, but it's not too terribly long. This isn't like a case where you're going to have to basically level up its friendship from scratch. Its friendship is actually pretty darn high to start with in this game when you catch it. So we should be seeing it evolve in somewhere in like the 20s, and I'm not in too much of a rush anyway, because it's not like we're going to be able to evolve Roselia for quite some time either. But all right, let's give this a shot. I know Helena's not going to be able to do much because Pound is going to hurt a ton. But whatever, let's at least get her some experience. This is the best way we're going to be able to do this anyway. Level 9. Okay, a little bit of a discrepancy there. We have Growth on, too, which is actually pretty nice. And Growl actually doesn't affect our attack here, so that's nice, too. All right, how much is that going to do? Am I going to actually be semi-decent? That's actually semi-decent. I think I can work with that. Yeah, Piplup, just keep spamming Growl, and then I'll just give all the experience to my little Badoo here. You know, of course, assuming she's actually got the right... You know, it'll be funny if I'm doing all this work, and then I find out she has the worst possible ability and nature, and then I'm like, well, maybe I should get a new one. I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully not. I could always check its summary, obviously, but we'll do that once the battle is over. So there we go. Getting there slowly, and I don't really feel like it's going to be able to do much to knock my Badoo out here. So yeah, use Pound. Let's see how much that does. Yeah, it's pretty good, but we can get our health right back with this move, so it's still not that much of a concern. And Barry ain't going to be breaking out potions, at least this early on in the game, I don't think. So we should be fine. Yeah, there we go. Just don't be a crit, please. Okay, awesome. That is some great experience for you early on. I know we're taking away a little bit from Gyoja, but that's okay, because he should be more than caught up by the time we actually get to the first gym. Look at all that. Beautiful. And again, we cannot let her faint. That's going to be the most detrimental thing to her happiness stat out of anything we do. We want to walk around with her. We want to give her, we want to let her battle a little bit, give her experience, all those sorts of things. Anytime we get rare candies, give those to her. I think you get the picture. There we go. Wow, what do you mean I lost? Well, that's it. That's the last time I'll ever lose. I'm going to be the world's toughest trainer, and you know it. First thing to do is take on the Oreburgh City Pokemon Gym. I'm going to toughen up for that. Totally. All right, Barry, if you say so. Before we end this episode today, let's take a look at Helena really quickly. Helena is rocking the Natural Cure ability, which is not the most ideal. I wanted Poison Point. Poison Point has a chance of poisoning a Pokemon whenever it takes a direct hit. Granted, physical defense is not this Pokemon's strong suit, so I guess it's okay. Healing status problems when switching out is pretty nice, so it's all right. Now, it has a relaxed nature, which I want to say raises its defenses, if I'm not mistaken, and lowers its physical attack, which I am more than okay with. No, actually, it lowers its speed. Never mind. I'm also okay with that, too. That's not the worst thing in the world, because this thing is still decently fast. And again, we already have a super fast sweeper, so that'll be all right. I'm not hating on that too much. Just as long as it doesn't lower special attack, that's where I would have been quite better. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all so very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to continue along Route 203 and make our way to Oreburgh City. We should be able to get there in the next episode, no problem. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.